Hello and welcome back to Rule the Game. In this video I'm going to show you how to play Propolis, a game by Molly Johnson, Robert Melvin and Shawn Stankewich. This game is for 1 to 4 players, lasts about 15 to 30 minutes, and it's recommended to start at age 10. If you've been watching my channel, then you might have come across another game by these authors, and that was actually another one within the Point Salad galaxy. So this also kind of belongs there, but not really. It's not really similar to them, but same set of designers. And if you haven't actually seen that video by me yet, then maybe follow the link up in the corner of the display. And also make sure that you subscribe to the channel. As usual, I'll start with showing you how to win points in this game. Then I'll show you how to play the game. I'll give you some hints for your first game, and at the very end I'll show you how to set up the game. But now let's get started with Propolis.
Rule the game.
Propolis is a turn-based game. The game ends when the first player was able to collect 10 of these structural cards. And once that has happened, then the turns continue until it gets to the turn of the person right before the starting player. And once that player has done their turn, then we'll finish the game and we'll start counting the points. At the end of the game, each player will have a set of structural cards that they will have purchased during the game, and they will also have some resources up here. You'll sort the cards here by A, B, C, D, and then the X is a queen's hive that comes from over here. That is a wild letter and can be used as any other letter. Many of the structural cards have points, and they're shown here in the green part of the card, and they're shown here in this little leaf. So here this card has 3 victory points. Some cards come with conditions, so in case of this card you'll get 2 points per set of B's and D's that you have. I only have 1 set of B and D, so I get 2 points from this one. Likewise, this one is 2 points per C and D set that I have. Currently I have 3 C's and 1 D, however, this is a wild card, so technically this could also be a D. So technically I have 2 sets of C's and D's, so I get 4 points for this card and 4 points for this card. And some cards give you a point per resource that you have at the end of the game, and that counts permanent resources, which are shown here in the structural card. So I have 3 permanent orange resources, and I have also here some resources that can be used. I have 5 of the orange ones, so 3 plus 5 is 8. And as you see here, I get 1 point per a set of 2. So I get 4 points for the orange resources here. So you'll add up all the points that you get here from the structural cards. And then you also get some points for unused resources that you have up here. And you see we have 5 types of resources here and some wild resources. You'll add up the number of points that you have here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 9, 10, and you divide them by 5. So in this case, I have 10 divided by 5 is 2, so I get 2 victory points from unused resources. You add up the points from this, and whoever has the most points wins. And in case of a tie, the person who has the most unused resources will win the game. As I mentioned, Propolis is a turn-based game. At the beginning of the game, everybody will receive a starting structure that they will put down in front of them. This starting structure will have an additional starting resource that you can use, and you'll actually move, in this case, the orange by 4 forward. As you can see, all the other resources you have are on 1. Now this here is my personal part, where I have here all my bees, my worker bees that I'm going to be using during the game. I will have my structures underneath, and these are my resources. I'm showing you here a 2-player game where you have here the regular structures, you'll have here resources that you can collect, and over here you have queen hives. Now as you can see, there are also some worker bees of mine up here, but these are currently not really acting for me. They're here in the general supply, and I hopefully can get them back later. Now on your turn, you can select between 1 of 5 actions. There are 2 that are related to structures, structural cards. There are 2 that are related to resources, and 1 that's related also kind of to resources, but mostly related to your worker bees. But we'll start with the action that's related to structural cards. As you can see up here, you have the market of structural cards that can be purchased. Each card shows on the bottom the costs of that card. Usually it's a number of resources, but in some cases it can also cost you a worker bee. Now to pay for the card, you'll have the regular resources by color here that you'll have to match with the card that's up here. But don't forget that you have here also the wild resources that can count as any other resource. In addition, you'll also find here that if you buy a structural cards, many of them have permanent resources that you can use for the rest of the game. In this case, with this card, it means that for the rest of the game, I will always have at least one yellow resource here that I can use to buy a card here without actually spending any of my resources from up here. Now you might be familiar with a game called Splendor. It was a game of the year many years ago. It's still a classic. And if you have played that game, you will notice that the mechanism here is, I would say, exactly the same as in Splendor. You'll also have permanent resources from the cards you buy. You'll also have some resources that you buy on your turn. And so together with the regular resources and the permanent resources, you buy new cards that will give you more resources, more permanent resources. Should you not know Splendor and want to play it, I also have a link up here where I explain to you how the game works. Now let's say I want to buy this card here. I have the two orange resources, so I reduce this by 2. I also have a pink resource here, and I will have to pay a B that goes here into the supply in the middle, and now I own this card. As you can see, I will sort my cards here by the color here so that I can remember how many of the permanent resources of one color I have, because now I have a yellow and a blue resource that I will have permanently. Once I've picked my card, we'll turn around here a new structural card. Now most cards will give you permanent resources like over here, but in some cases you'll also get worker bees. So should you be able to buy this card, and right now I'm not, but should you be able to buy it, you will take the card and you'll take 2 worker bees here from the middle and put them here with your supply. The second option to buy a structural card is you can buy a Queen's Hive over here on the right hand side. You will of course only be able to have 1 queen hive in your beehive, but also this supply here will not be refilled. So whoever comes first gets the best card. There's a slight difference in how you pay for these, and again I would refer to Splendor, where it's the same way actually. These here, the costs that you have for these cards are not resources that you have here that can be used, but they're only permanent resources. So if I wanted to get this card, I would need 2 orange permanent resources and 2 blue permanent resources. Let's say if I had already been able to purchase these 2 cards, I now have 2 orange resources, permanent ones, a blue one, but also a wild one. So I have 2 blue ones, and this wild one always changes depending on what you need. In this case, I consider it a blue one. So now I have 2 orange permanent ones, 2 blue permanent ones, and I would have to pay 3 bees here into the supply, and then this one's mine. So this is how you get these structural cards. That's what's important. That's where you get your victory points. That's where you get your permanent resources. That's what you want to get. But now you need some resources. How do you get the resources? That's what we have the worker bees for. And so the third option for an action is that you get resources. To get resources, you'll have to place some worker bees here on these resource fields down here. You can play as many bees as you want to on a single card that is currently empty. Now let's say purple had already played some bees on here. I will now be able to play my resources anywhere, and I can get resources from anywhere I want to. Let's say I put it right here and here. This I would potentially do if I don't have that many bees left. I currently have many bees left, but let's say I did this. I played one orange, so I get an orange resource. I put a yellow one, so I get a yellow resource. Now it's important that you put them down this way because in the next move I'll show you what happens later if you actually place them flat. But we don't do this yet. I just wanted to show you also, so I couldn't place any B here because there's already another B here. And what you also see is that in this case here, if you place one here, you'll get a B from the supply. And if you place one here or here, you can actually exchange a resource. So I could move this one back one and get a purple one. They're the most expensive ones. And maybe I'll move the yellow one back and move the pink one forward. The bottom is the most expensive and most valuable. The top is the least valuable. So this was action 3. Action 4 is to fortify bees. I'm not quite sure what that means, but here's how it goes. You can take any of the bees that you have here already on the board, 2 of them in fact, and you can fortify them by placing them flat. And by doing so, you will gain the resource again. So in this case, I'll get another orange and I'll get another pink. And the 5th action, of course, is related to the worker bees, as I said before, because at some point you're going to run out of worker bees. They're going to be all here, or you're going to pay for some of the cards with bees, and all of a sudden they're either going to be here or up in the supply. And you need some back because you want to get more resources. So what do? Well, the action here is to just retreat some of the worker bees by picking up however many you want to from anywhere on here and put them back in your supply. However, if you have to do this, that's also considered a turn. So again, when it's your turn, you can either buy a structural card, you can buy a queen hive, you can get a resource by placing your worker bee, you can fortify a worker bee, or you can retreat the worker bees to your supply. Now what might happen at some point is that somebody will place bees and fill a full row of cards here. In this case, the person who just placed the bee that fills the row will get an extra wild coin here. We'll then go and check for the majority on here. And just in this row, and in this row you'll see I have 1, 2, 3, and the 45 bee actually counts as 2, so I have 5 bees. This player here has only 1 bee. So I'll win this row. And what that means is I'll get all my bees back. Then we will remove the rightmost cards, put it in a discard pile, slide them all over, and add a new card over here. Now it is possible that I will finish a row here by placing my bee over here. I'll get my purple resource. And then I get a golden coin because I finished this row. But as you can see now, I don't actually have the majority. I have 1, 2, 4, and this person here has 2, 4, 5. So they have the majority. In this case, because I finished the row, they will get a golden coin because they actually have the majority. Now this is very important to understand. The person who puts down the bee to finish a row will never be able to collect 2 gold coins in that turn. So you'll get the 1 gold coin because you finished the row, but the other player will get a gold coin for having the majority. So that's important there. The player here then still collects their bees and takes them away, and we will still take the rightmost card, the rightmost empty card, move the others over, and add a new card. In some cases, at the end of the turn, it turns out we have a full row like here, but we actually have a tie. We have here 4 points for this player and 4 points for this player. In this case, nobody gets the majority, nobody gets the gold coin. But what will happen in a later turn, somebody might fortify a bee. Let's say I fortified a bee here later, and maybe also this one. And now at the end of my turn, I actually have a majority here, and so I will win this row. So once you've clarified if there's a full row, once you've clarified the majority, then the turn's over and the turn moves to the next player. In the unlikely event that a player has 0 bees left, they're all in the central supply up here, the person can skip their turn to get one of those bees from the central supply, but if they do so, all the other players will also get a bee from the central supply. And that's it. Once the first player has collected 10 structural cards, the game will continue until it gets to the person just before the starting player, and then we start collecting the points, as I've shown you before. And here's some hints for the first game. Of course, the objective is to get good cards from up here. So you'll try in the beginning to probably get some good cards that have permanent resources that will make things cheaper afterwards. And of course here, the wild icon is the best you can get. Otherwise, a purple is very good too because it's the most expensive one that you can get. And as you can see, in most cases, you don't actually need many of the purple ones. The queen hives, in my opinion, are nice to have because it's tricky to get the permanent resources together that you need to really get them. And then they only give you 3 to 4 victory points and they don't give you any permanent resources. Now they do help you with the scoring because they have this wild letter that will later on help you get sets of 2. But I don't know if that's worth it. It's probably better to spend your resources that you can get more freely in the market by buying the regular structural cards up here, the ones that actually have points on them. And then down here, I mean, I wouldn't really worry too much about finishing rows or not finishing rows. Yes, sometimes you should finish a row so that you get a golden coin. If you have the majority or not the majority, I don't think it matters so much. It's nice to have the majority. It's important to have the majority so you get the bees back in that turn. But I don't think you can really go speculate on having the majority. So I would focus on what do you want up here and how you get this up here. And that's the key to the game. So that's Propolis. I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, please subscribe to the channel. And if you're still up for it, then next up is the game setup section. To set up the game, every player first gets a resource tracker. They will then place these different coins here, always in the 1. Next, every player gets all the bees that are here marked in this color, and they will place 3 of them in the general supply in the center of the table. We'll then shuffle all the resource cards with the resource part on top. We'll place 10 cards up here. And for 1 to 2 players, you'll place 2 rows of 4 cards here with the resources down below. For 3 to 4 players, you would add a 3rd row. The deck goes over here. Next, you'll take the Queen Palaces, you shuffle them with the Queen Palaces up on top. You'll then hand every player a starting card. They flip the Queen's Palaces around. This is their starting card. You'll also add over here a number of Queen Palaces. For 2 players it's 5, for 3 it's 6, and for 4 it's 7. The rest can go back in the box. The player with the lowest number down here will start, and before they get started, they'll get these resources that it says here, so in this case, 2 purple ones. And that's it. We're ready to get started.